Thanks for joining us on 90s Plus. I'm Chris Bianchi. The holidays are here, and it is prime season for travel. But with inflation and high prices, it's also an expensive time of year, especially this year. So we've got some tips about how to save a few or a lot of money on travel specifically this holiday season. We spoke with Regina Conway from Slick Deals for some tips and tricks to save some money during the holiday season.
We're now joined by Regina Conway, a consumer expert for Slick Deals. Regina, thanks so much for taking the time to join us here today.
Thank you for having me.
So I guess when it comes to travel and saving money on travel, any top line tips that you want to offer our viewers?
Well, the first thing is that if you're looking to save the most, one of the things that you might consider doing is looking into a rewards credit card. And in that case, you'll want to make sure that you're really looking at what you're planning to spend as far as what your spending patterns might be, whether that annual fee is worth it. And then even within those travel rewards cards, there are different types that will offer you extra incentives depending on how you spend. So before you actually get one, make sure that you're doing your research.
And when it comes to doing that, what are other things we should factor into our research when we're looking for an appropriate credit card? Is it where we're going to travel, credit scores, other things we should think about?
So first and foremost, even those rewards cards at face value might have a really strong offer to get you to sign up. But during different times of year, there may be stronger incentives. So look for those deals as you would with anything else that you're shopping for. Even when you're shopping for, let's say you're shopping for computers, you do your research, do the same type of research for your credit cards, because those incentives do come up multiple times a year. And if you are planning to travel with a specific airline, sometimes looking at those airline credit cards is a good offer. But most importantly, make sure that you're not getting that credit card just for those rewards. Make sure that you actually have the money to pay them off, because at the end of the day, none of those rewards will be worth it if you end up being unable to pay for it and having to pay for those interest fees.
So optimistically, how if we go by all of that and we are able to pay off our credit cards, everything like that, how much can these credit cards really help us?
That does depend on how much you're shopping. And if you're maximizing those benefits, meaning that you're actually looking for, let's say sometimes there's an extra point incentive if you go for gas at a specific place, or you go buy your groceries at a certain store and you've tapped into those rewards. That said, I did just pay for 4 airline tickets with the rewards that I was able to accumulate off of my rewards credit card. Now, maybe that's an indication of how much I shopped, but it was also with a bonus that was part of the sign-up package with that particular card.
So I guess the way to think of it, maybe in an optimistic sense, is that the more you spend during the holiday season, that can also translate into a tangible benefit too.
Always with the caveat of make sure that it's within your budget.
Right.
That budget will quickly escape. And I want to be clear that you should never get a card just to get the card for the rewards, because it won't pay off in that way. But if you already have your budget for the holidays, then this is a good time to look for one of those rewards cards. Now, there are also, in addition to the travel cards, there are cashback rewards cards. Those tend to offer a little bit less of an incentive. You don't get as much money back as you do in points or travel miles if you're using one of the other types of cards, but you can also earn back that cash on your purchases if you're not planning to travel and you're just looking to save some extra money there.
So let's move away from travel cards specifically and maybe focus on hotels and accommodations when you're traveling on the road. Any tips, generally speaking, about how to save money while going on the road in terms of accommodations?
Well, the big thing is if you have flexibility in your travel plans. So again, I know we're moving away from the rewards cards, but that is another area where you could save on that. Also, if you do have that flexibility, then there's an option to wait it out and see if maybe there's a different discount. There are specific days, Tuesdays are traditionally a better day to look for that travel. Weekends, if you can travel on off days versus having to travel on maybe a Friday or a Saturday, if you can make your travel a little bit more flexible, that will help you with your costs as well.
And also in terms of traveling maybe by car, I know that's something that tends to be popular. Maybe a bit of good news that gas prices have certainly gone down in recent weeks. Any other suggestions about how to save money while traveling by road specifically?
Look into those rental car rates as well. Sometimes not putting those miles on your own vehicle can really help save you on those costs of maintenance down the road. Rental cars can be expensive, but if you are getting them during an off time or maybe just a model that isn't as popular, or sometimes there are just extra incentives to rent a vehicle at a certain time, it's worth looking into so that you're not putting that traction on your own vehicle.
That's a really interesting thought, is that maybe renting a car. I know that rental car rates have gone up in the last couple of years since the kind of start of the pandemic. Have they lowered or leveled off here in the last few weeks or months?
The overall costs have gone up, but again, there are still bonuses. So if you're looking at, when you're looking at to book, if you're not committed to necessarily needing, let's say, a minivan, and you're flexible on the type of model, very often if those rental car companies have something in stock for the time that you're traveling, we are seeing some really good discounts in those areas.
Interesting. Any specific locations, for example, that might be a bit cheaper to visit? I'm trying to think of any specific spots that may have special deals going on right now to get there to a certain place.
I don't have the specific location. That would also depend on where you're traveling from. So sometimes, you can find a great offer. Even there are rates, we see them on our site on Slick Deals, where it will be something like a trip to Hawaii from Los Angeles for, $200 round trip, but you have to be in that specific location. So really make sure that you're just checking those offers that are available in your area.
All right, so check those offers that are available in your area. Any final kind of broad takeaways or tips or things that we should look for in order to save money traveling this holiday season?
Just always do your research. I know it sounds redundant, but the thing is that the best thing that you can do is make sure that you're maximizing your dollar. And so whether that's looking for that best savings on when you're booking, or if that's really tapping into those rewards, do your research ahead of time, and then think about those hidden costs as well. You may need to take into consideration as you're making your budget, pet care, anybody watching your home during the time that you're gone. So build that budget with those hidden factors in mind as well.
Great advice. So build in those hidden costs in addition to the top line ones. Regina Conway, thank you so much for joining us here for a few minutes of your time. And again, I know your website app is Slick Deals as well, slickdeals.net. So another place to potentially check out for some of those possible deals as well. But Regina, thank you so much for joining us here on 9 News Plus and giving us a few of those helpful tips for this holiday season.
Thank you for having me.